Hi, I'm Riley. I am a certifying birth and postpartum doula and owner of Baby Steps Canada. Most birth workers and their journey to finding doula work or any kind of birth work, it's not a linear process. There's so many steps along the way. So mine starts really, really early at the beginning. I'm one of identical triplets, naturally conceived. So growing up, I was around a lot more conversations about pregnancy and birth and the postpartum experience because people are super nosy and needed to know all of those questions as it pertains to triplets and that experience. So because I was around a lot more of those conversations, I think it really brought out that innate passion within me of birth work and the perinatal journey. And so originally I had wanted to go to school to be a midwife, but at the time, the only school in Alberta was only accepting 14 students a year. And I'm a 17-year-old high school student. So very, very, very small chance of getting in. So I actually decided to first go to nursing school and graduate that. And afterwards, I pivoted a little bit. I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. And so after a couple of years of asking, what do I do with my life? I finally stumbled upon doula work. And so I went back to school to do that. I'm completing my certification program. I've taken my exam, so we're waiting to see if I'm officially certified. And I love everything about doula work. I love that I get to continually be with my clients. I love being able to emotionally support them, have some of that hand-on physical comfort measure stuff, and also nerd out all the time about birth work and pregnancy and all of the topics that I naturally love. To me as a doula means not making assumptions or using default language about how a family comes together, who's giving birth, who's postpartum, who's a parent. It's using inclusive representation and terminology at all times. I think being a queer person in this world, there's nothing more annoying than having an establishment or a service or a business say that they're queer inclusive because they did an advertisement at Pride Month representing you, but all the other times of the year they have a default representation. And so within my practice, every single day is a day to include everybody from all walks of life into the birth and parent and postpartum journey. So you'll often see me using language such as the pregnant or birthing person, and that can be anyone, and then using terms like body feeding, and then instead of breastfeeding. And then each client that I work with or person that I speak with even gets to choose within those umbrella terms what words feel good for them and what terminology they would like to use. And then I can really work individually with each person and their situation and their experience. The biggest challenge about being a doula that I didn't expect was just business ownership. I don't think anybody at any point in our life just sits us down and tells us how to own and run and operate a business. So knowing the trade itself is amazing and I love my work. And then it's all the little behind the scenes stuff that is a curveball, but I'm really excited to learn and be on that journey. I provide customized care packages for my doula work, specifically with birth work. So when we see the average birth doula, what you'll see is a package of typically 2 prenatal meetings, their physical attendance at a birth, and then 1 or 2 postpartum visits. And all of that is at a set price, and that's what you get. When I started my business, I really wanted to be able to have each person decide what kind of care they wanted, to be able to customize their care, how many meetings they want, and at what budget is doable for them. So what I decided to do was to take all of those prenatal meetings, birth attendance, postpartum visits, and separately feed them so that each person could pick and choose how they wanted their care to look, and again, within the budget that they wanted. So they can choose as many or as little prenatal visits as they want. They can choose for me to be physically or virtually attending their birth or not at all. Or they can choose to have 1, 2, 3, 5, 100 postpartum visits if that's what they choose. Being on social media as a doula, well, first of all, being on social media in general was really scary. It's such a vulnerable place to be. And so it took a minute, but once I got on, I was really excited to find a community of other birth workers, to connect with potential clients or just people going through that journey. Also finding other professions that I can refer my clients out to. So that's been a lovely just community setting. It's also been an amazing creative outlet, being able to make content. It's really made me dive deeper into my practice, what I believe, learn more, seek out more information. And I love the creative process of it. And I really like making Instagram reels, like videos. That's really fun. Every time I hear an audio, I'm like, oh, I could do this and I could do that. And I can talk about this. And it just is a springboard into so many other topics that I love. So I love getting to do that every single day. I have a former license to practice practical nursing. And so that has really helped my doula practice evolve so much. I think in nursing school, the main pillars that were really taught to us as student nurses was patient autonomy and patient-centered care. And so going forward in my practice, those are pillars that I continue to hold up at the center of my care, is allowing my patients, well, now my clients, to make informed, consensual decisions about their care and to also be at the center of their care. And so that was kind of how nursing really helped to inform my practice going forward. And then specifically within school, I had the privilege and honor of doing my final practicum focus in obstetrics and gynecology. So that really allowed me to really dig deeper and evolve my love of perinatal wellness and all of those topics, and to be able to really work with people going through that journey and understanding their experience. And so it was the best time. I really enjoyed my time in OB-GYN. When discussing doulas and the medical system, I think it's really important to first define what is a doula and what is a medical care professional. A medical care professional is someone who has been trained in the physical well-being and safety of their patients. So these include doctors, nurses, midwives. These do not include doulas. A doula is not a medical care professional. We're professional support people. So when I'm working with a client specifically in a birth space, my role is to help my client make informed and consensual decisions about their care. I am there to support their relationship with their healthcare provider. I am there to emotionally support them and any birth partners that they have in the room. And I'm there to provide physical comfort measures. So that's what a doula is. It's not my place and it's not my job to give my medical opinion, because I'm not a medical care professional. And I think that the moment I give an opinion about where somebody gives birth, who they have at their birth, what procedures or interventions they use at their birth, the moment I give my opinion and my biases about those topics, I risk taking away my patient's ability to be at the center of their care and to be autonomous, because I'm putting my biases at the center of their care. I'm putting my biases over the lens of judgment that they use. So that is not my place. And then I think the flip side of this conversation as well is to recognize that majority of Canadian births will take place in a hospital using doctors and nurses and using some form of medical intervention, anything from an epidural to cesarean and anything in between. That's the majority of the birthing experience in Canada. And so it's important to be birth and medically inclusive, to not simply tolerate those things in birth, but to really actively validate and welcome them into the birth space and include them always, every day. So in my practice, I work really hard to be neutral, to give the facts, and to welcome everybody and every birth experience.